You're watching Voice of the Heroes with Jeremy G.
Welcome back to Voice of the Heroes. And if you're watching for the first time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, click that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all your favorite anime voice actors, because you never know what heroes or villains will be stopping by. And today we got a very special guest. He has voiced over 198 characters and counting. And he's also been nominated for multiple Behind the Voice Actor Awards, including Voice Actor of the Year. Let's give it up to the man, the myth, the legend, John Swasey.
How y'all doing, guys?
We're good, man. Glad you could be here. Now let's introduce our panel. We have our first co-host. She is Lava Lava. Let them know where they can find you at.
What's up, everyone? You can find me under Senpai Lavatron on all social media platforms. So my first question, and I hate to put you on a spot, but do you play and do you watch a lot of the shows or animes as well as video games that you voice acted in?
So no, that's a great question, Lava. I don't. I'm not a gamer. I direct as well as act. And there's two things. Number one, I hate the sound of my own voice. And so every time I watch something that I'm in, I just go, oh, God, why did you do that? That was awful. Ugh. But the other thing too is I direct anime all day, 5 days a week. So I do not come home and unwind by watching more anime. I'm animate out, man. I need to, though. I need to be caught up. I'd love to watch One Piece. Of course, that's daunting. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll watch the live action first. In fact, I was talking to somebody about that a good way to maybe get into One Piece, if you haven't, is watch the live action and then go back and start watching the other shows, because the live action cuts right to the chase and doesn't have a lot of filler like anime can do, or anything that's got over 1,000 episodes,
Right.
So,
Right.
but yeah, so, and then as far as gaming goes, yeah, I'm not really a gamer. My son is. I'll tell you a real quick story that during the pandemic, Funimation reached out to me and said, hey, we're going to do a live recording, kind of an event, if you will. And one of the things that they wanted to do was have me play All For One in the game and fight Chris Sabat, who plays All Might, and have a best 2 out of 3 match, kind of, dredge match. And I was like, okay, that sounds like fun, but I don't play the game. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to look stupid. So I came up with an idea. So what I did is, I'm sitting there like this, and I've got my, my little controller, and I'm doing this, But what you can't see is underneath me, my son was sitting on the ground with the actual controller playing the game. And I'm just going, take that All For One, or All Might, take this out. Just me, think again, you SOB, and suck on this, All Might. And anyway, so I win the first round. And we had some internet connection, so the thing isn't responding to what my son wants it to do. At least that's what he said. It could have just been he was sucking. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, we got beat the second round, so it's a tie match. And then he just came in the third round and just pounded the crap out of me. So anyway, I said, well, that's all right. I don't really care anyway, because it really wasn't me you beat. It was, in fact, my son. And I made him stand up and everything. And it was this big reveal.
That was very in character of you.
It was really funny, and everyone got a good laugh about it. Months later, I found out, and I have not confirmed this, but I did find out that not only was I not playing, my son was playing for me. Turns out Chris wasn't playing, his daughter was playing for him. So his daughter actually beat my son. So
did you tell your son about this? Like, did you know who you got beat by actually?
No, I found out like months later from somebody else. They're like, oh, you know the story behind that, don't you? And I'm like, well, I think so. And they're like, no, you don't. And they told me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So yeah, but anyway, but it's a good, fair question.
Yeah.
But you know, when I do enjoy the stuff I'm directing a show called Eminence and Shadow, which is
Oh, that one's really
I
popular right
really
now.
like watching that. I directed Vinland Saga, and I really enjoyed, you know, watching that. That was fun. And that it's just, you know, anime has gotten so, I mean, there's a lot of great shows that are old shows, you know,
Yeah.
but man, the just the artwork and the animation is just off the charts now, I think, you know, compared to what it used to be. It's just, it's
Right. Well, I do have a question because you did mention One Piece, right?
Mhm.
And I know that like when it comes from, the original to, you guys, it's like a lot of the work has already been done as far as like voice acting, and you kind of, get to hear kind of how the Japanese voice actors they do their thing, And in particular, Crocodile, he has like a very iconic and menacing voice. And you was able to, come with your own menacing flair to the character. Can you like tell us a little bit on how you prepared to, you know, act in that role?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I prepare for a role,
Hmm.
the first thing I do is I let me go back a little bit. I learned this working on a show called Soul Leader. And I play a character named Lord Death. And I, whether I'm acting or directing, I always, first thing I do is listen to what the Japanese actor did
Hmm.
or is doing, because they're the ones that have created that role. So I think it's very important and rather indicative that I or any actor kind of stay true to what that original performance is. You know, there's a big battle between subs versus dubs,
Oh,
and I
definitely.
think that if you know you had Crocodile, you know, the Japanese like he's way down here like this. Well, I can't, you know, I'm not going to try to mimic him, but if I made Crocodile sound like this, it would be stupid, you know, and people would be really pissed off about it,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't work. So you have to, I think you have to listen to him. Also, you know, you look at him, you study him, you look at the artwork, you look at the mannerisms. I mean,
Hmm.
you know, Crocodile is very flamboyant. He's, you know, wears jewelry, and he's got a cape and a cigar and a gold hook, and
Yeah.
you know, you
He got
see it's
swag.
all about, you know, him. It's all
Yes,
about him.
sir.
And so he's got to be big and bombastic, and you know, it's very important. So those are just some of the things I do. But I'd say the most important thing that I do is here he comes. There he is.
There
Hello.
There
he is.
he is.
The most important thing I would say that I do is would have to be listening to what the Japanese does first, and then really trying to capture the essence of their performance. You know, not again, not mimic, not copy,
Right.
but just try to capture that.
Right. Because I feel like when it comes to like the Japanese performances, a lot of them they do get a little bit of guidance from, the original mangaka, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they kind of work with them. And so for you to be able to go in on, okay, they kind of are getting a little bit of guidance from how the original author's vision is. And so it's important, to like, I guess, get some ideas from that. But also, like you said, like bring your own flair to it because your crocodile was good too, and it also was able to bring such an iconic voice to the character. So
Well, thank you that's very kind of you to say. You know, I think probably the greatest compliment any voice actor in the anime space can get is to have somebody go, dude, I love your voice. But it you know, because it captures what that character is, you know. Like I said, if you went in and just said, I'm Crocodile, I mean, that just ain't gonna work, man. you got to make it work. And when somebody says that, like you just did, that means a lot to me. So thank you for saying that.
We talked about the live action adaptation of One Piece. Usually the live adaptations are not critically or, from the fan base received in a good light. So my question is to you, the One Piece that we just got for Netflix original is beloved, like everyone's loving it, the critics to the fan base. My question is, who would you like to see Crocodile? Well, what actor would you like to see play Crocodile in the Netflix original series?
That's a great question. I heard a rumor that it may be Oscar Isaacs, but I don't know.
Mm.
I think that what I'm really excited about is I think he's going to show up from what I've heard, he's going to show up in season 2. So I'm sure they're working on that right now, but we'll see. Because in season 1 they alluded to Crocodile being a woman.
Oh,
that's
wow.
right. When
That
they were
is
showing all of
actually,
the
hold on. That's actually a question. Big shout out to Ernie Burns, and Don's in them. They actually asked me to ask you about that theory and how do you feel about it? Because there's a theory saying Crocodile is actually a transgender woman,
right?
and the mother
and
of
Luffy's
Luffy.
mom.
Yeah, the mother of Luffy.
Yeah,
So
I don't
how do
know
you feel about
that.
that theory?
I don't know much about it really at all. I do know that if it turns out he's transgender, then I think that'd be pretty awesome. What a great twist. But I don't know. I don't know about Luffy's mom. I think that's maybe a stretch. I mean, sure. I don't know a mom that wants to beat up their kid that bad. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I just,
Hey,
I don't
sometimes
know.
I give my mom hell.
That's but I think, and maybe though it was a whole thing on, I'm gonna pound the crap out of you. I'm not gonna kill you, but I need to toughen you up. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? So we'll see. We'll see.
And you're still going on as far as the live action is concerned. You're still in the anime, correct?
Yeah. Actually, I just recorded some One Piece last week.
Yes, the part that you're on is they had a new kind of crew form with Crocodile, Buggy, and Mihawk.
The
Yeah,
guild,
yes, the Cross
Cross
Guild.
Guild.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot more
And
stuff coming up.
is it new name? No name? I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, there's another character I play, talks about the whole organization, and then it cuts to Crocodile going into it. So yeah. So hopefully there's a lot more of that coming down the road. So I'd be very excited if that were the case.
Now, I noticed there's a guitar missing in the back. Now, do you play guitar? And if you do, what's your favorite thing to play?
I do. I will. Don't go away. I'll show you the reason it's missing.
Oh, we about to get a live session. Get it.
I hope it didn't break.
Right here.
Oh, it's electric.
It's electric. Wow.
Let's see. Oh, it's a little out of tune. Anyway, it's way out of tune, guys, so I can't really play it. But
It was still good.
A man of many talents. That was awesome.
I like to play. I like a lot of blues. I'm a big Deadhead. I love the Grateful Dead. Any jam bands, that kind of thing. Widespread Panic, Allman Brothers, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm into. But
Do you go to a lot of like jazz, like I guess what do you call those spots? Like like it's not the concert, but like the blues,
Like a venue
little,
or some sort of club. or
yeah, the
something like
blues
that.
venue, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I do. A lot of times if I'm out at a convention, which I do, conventions almost every weekend. So if I'm out of town and there's a band playing, one of my favorite bands is actually in Chicago, and every time I'm at a convention there, I try to go see them. So, yeah, I definitely, I love live music, love trying to go see it. So, if I can, I get out to it. Do you like live music?
I do like live music. I have a wide variety in taste, so a lot. So when you were playing that, I'm like, oh yeah, my dad would just love to hear you play that.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, no, I do like playing guitar. So those are my wife said we're gonna put them out, but I'm gonna hang them on the wall so I can just go pick them up and strum them and put them back on the wall. And as opposed to having them in a case where I got to pull it out, I'd never play them if I did that. So
I saw the drums too. What about the drums? I saw the
the
little
drum. Oh yeah, the drum. So that is the here, I'll show you real quick. That is this is my buddy right here, Kim Stoner. That's this guy right here. And that was his name, Kim Stoner. But he and I were best friends, and he unfortunately passed away in 2017. And but he was a drummer. So we would always jam together. And one night he was traveling, he lived in Florida, and he was traveling to Houston. And I said, hey dude, why don't you come over and we'll jam? And he's like, all right. So he went and bought that drum and brought it over to my house. And he goes, I'm going to leave it here. So every time I come over, there'll be a little drum here. So he would play and we'd just jam out a little bit. So
some
Yeah,
sentimental
that's
value.
legit.
yeah.
but yeah, he was a good guy, man. I miss him.
Thank you for sharing that story.
So oh sure. Yeah, he was he got to see kind of what this is all about, because if I do a show in Florida, he'd usually come meet me. And I remember one time I was doing a convention in Florida, in Ocala, in Central Florida, and actually I think I flew into Tampa, and then we drove up together to Ocala, and we walked in the hotel, and we were sitting there, weren't really doing anything. I was just checking in, and a couple of fans came up. They're like, "Are you John Swasey?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh my God, we can't believe it!" And kind of freaking out, fanboying and everything, and fangirling, and it was just kind of funny to see him. He was just like, "What the hell was that?"
Like I'm big time in the
I
streets.
said, "Hey, dude, I'm sorry, man. You know what?
It
In the
told him
world of
you
anime,
had to
I'm kind
tell
of a
him like,
big
man,
deal."
you rolling with a boss right now.
I am curious because at the top of the show, Flea mentioned that you had done like so many characters, like nearly 200 in voice acting. In fact,
Actually, I think I don't know where that number came from. I think it varies on who you look at, but Anime News Network says I've done like 300 or 400, I think, something like that.
Wow,
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, so you're way up there. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. That's all right, dude. That's all right. I
How
mean,
many do you think you have voice act? Like if you was to I know you probably lost count, but what would your number be?
Oh, I would say probably close to 400 different characters.
Oh
But I
my
mean, those are
goodness.
characters like that could be,
It goes from like minor to
yeah, I mean, it could be Soldier B to Crocodile,
right,
So,
right.
back in the day, back when I started doing this in 97, there just weren't that many actors doing this. So they would ask, and I kind of got a reputation of a character actor, and I could do a lot of different voices. So they would be like, well, be this guy and be that guy and be that guy. And, Todd Habercorn would be the hero and I'd be five guys around him, and so that's kind of how that got started. And then of course, I started working at Funimation up in Dallas, and really right now it's funny between Sentai, where I direct and act full time, and then Funimation, where I act. Between those two studios, one's in Houston, Sentai, and Funimation, of course, is in Dallas. There's a couple other little studios, Rooster Teeth in Austin, and Coca Sound and Space Cowboy, just littler studios, Okratron. but we in Texas, we produce more anime than anyone else in North America.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
It's just a weird phenomenon, you know. It's like, what the hell, really? Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So kind of a neat little thing here, I guess.
Do
So
you can you like recall like a time where you were like voice acting a character like where you just had the most fun, like a good memory of like a voice acting session or something like that?
oh yeah, I mean, anytime I'm working with my friend Kyle Jones, he's another director at Sentai, we always have a blast. Uh I do remember, oh, pardon me. I do edit that out. I do remember working on a show called Sergeant Frog,
Mm-hmm.
and I played this character named Kogoro, who was a space sheriff, space marshal. And he looked like a 70s cartoon character. He had big hair and stupid looking clothes, and he made funny movements, but his voice was like, ha ha ha, I am here to save the day, you know. And he just, so the director Joel McDonald was just like, dude, you can say whatever you want, I don't care, this guy's so wacky and kooky, just say whatever you want. So I would you know, not change the meaning of a line, but I would just say it, you know, like, thank you for having me today. I am here to record your video. Let us record it now, you know, and just make it goofy and silly. And
Yeah.
anyway, that was just a lot of fun because it gave me a lot of freedom, you know, to
Yeah.
play around with it.
I do.
Another one, probably the most fun, was we took this again with my friend Kyle Jones and another guy, Jay Hickman, who's another voice actor, but we took a live action Japanese monster movie, kaiju movie called Gamera 2. And Gamera is a giant turtle. And he's like
Yeah,
God.
I'm familiar with the anime.
Yeah. So we dubbed the whole thing as a bunch of Texas rednecks.
Oh God.
I bet
That
that
must
came
have
out
been
awesome.
hilarious, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. It's
All
pretty
right, so just to switch beat real quick, right? With the season 7 approaching, scheduled May 4th of My Hero Academia, do you think we'll get will All for One get more of a significant role in season 7, being with all the chaos that's going on right now?
I sure hope so. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, you know, I don't read the manga, but I've got a lot of friends that do, and they're just like, you know, dude, he's about to unleash hell, you know. And he started doing stuff at the end of season 6, you know, really preparing Shigaraki and getting him kind of geared up. And, you know, the end of season 5, even, he was like clearly grooming Shigaraki. And then season 6 came in and started really ramping up. And I think season 7 is going to be just the ultimate showdown, you know.
Have you went in for any recordings for season 7 yet?
Not yet. No. And if it's coming out in May, we probably won't start recording till April, because we stay pretty much right on schedule with the release of the Japanese version.
Mm.
So they don't want I don't think they want any leaks or, you know, anything like that. So they try to keep it pretty tight, you know. And they certainly don't tell us what's going on. Although, again, you know, it's in the manga, so it's not really a spoiler.
There's really not spoilers, to be honest with you.
I mean, that's like, you know, going to see Jaws and the shark dies. You're like, wow, really? Like, well, it's in the book. I mean, the shark dies in the book.
Yeah.
Not the same way, but the shark dies in the book. So you can't, you know, when you're using a source material, you know, unlike a Marvel, which they're just taking the characters and kind of doing whatever they want to do with them. I think, you know, they're keeping to some canon, of course, but they're not pounding out the comic book you know, like the manga, like the anime does with manga.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I think there's some heavy stuff about to happen, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it myself.
This guy needs to have his day.
Oh,
Oh,
well, that one looks
that
really
was
good.
legit.
And you know what's crazy? I'm a
Ooh.
huge Funko Pop collector, so I definitely got to get my hands on that
I
one.
love them. That's an exclusive right there.
Yeah, that's an
Dang,
exclusive. That look like the
That's an
NYC
exclusive.
anime one, right?
Check this out.
Oh, and Lord Death.
But that's
That's-
a custom. It's not really a Funko Pop. Somebody just made it.
Oh, it's a
how good does
custom. I
that
was like,
feel
I haven't
having
seen-
so many characters made as a Funko Pop?
I would love if Funko actually made one. But I think, and somebody told me, you know, I don't know, but somebody told me that Crocodile and All for One are both going to get new Funko Pops this year.
It could be possible because
Nice.
you
And
know
I think part of it is the Cross Guild
Crossguild, yeah.
with Buggy and Mihawk. And then the other one
7.
is, I think there's going to be a new All for One in his perfect form.
Woo!
Mm.
I can't wait for it, man. I'm definitely excited for season 7. Now, we just talked about a whole bunch of iconic characters that you played. Are there any ones that you feel like elevated your career to the point that it's at now? Like, is there a certain particular character that, you know, brought you to this place?
Well, you know, that's a tough question because really it's all kind of a culmination of doing this for a long time. But I mean, you know, probably the first biggest character I ever did was a character named Gendo Ikari from a show called Evangelion, which is an older anime, but it's very iconic.
Yeah.
And Hohenheim from Full Metal Alchemist was a big one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Soul Eater from, or excuse me, Lord Death from Soul Eater. Another one that's actually coming back also this year is Undertaker from a show called Black Butler. And
yes, it is.
they're coming out with a season 4 apparently with that. So I'm you know very excited and to see what happens with that because he's one of my favorite characters. I love him. So you know really there's kind of there's 5 I'd say. There's All for One, Crocodile, Lord Death, Hohenheim, Undertaker, maybe 6, and then Dodoria from Dragon
Dodoria,
Ball.
yes.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, a bunch of others. Farmer with a Shotgun from Dragon Ball and
That one's
you
fire.
know, Gendo and there's also one Dallas Zachary from Attack on Titan.
Yes.
He was a fun character and then of course Salvador from Borderlands 2 and you know, so I've just, you know, probably in the last 10 years of just, I mean, it's just, I think it's really just a culmination, but definitely these 2 guys right now are my two big guys right here. So, I probably should offer these as a combo pack.
So you did answer your favorite characters that you have done, but my question is, you did a lot of father figures in the anime world. Who would be the most relatable father to you out of what you voice act, or like like a character that really like it's like I'm talking to my son? What character really brought that out of you out of all the father figures in anime?
There's such bad dads. I don't think I'm that bad a dad.
Anime is full with bad dads.
So that just means your son is good. Your son is good.
You know, I will say, and this actually goes back to probably one of my favorite characters in general that I've ever voiced is a character named Kumatetsu from a movie I did called The Boy and the Beast. And it's a beautiful movie. And he's not technically the boy's father, but he kind of steps in as his father figure. And he's kind of, Kumatetsu's very rough around the edges. I'm very rough around the edges. And but he learns a lot from his son, and I've learned a lot from my son. So I think that'd probably be the one I'd have to say, because even if he gets upset and angry, deep down he still has a huge, huge heart for this kid, and just a love that goes way, way deep. So if you haven't seen it, if your interviewers haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. It's by Mamoru Hosoda. It's called The Boy and the Beast. Mamoru Hosoda did Summer Wars and Wolf Children. He was a student of Miyazaki and worked with him. But it's just a beautiful movie. I would highly, highly recommend it. But that's probably who I would say Lava is.
I just want to piggyback off that, right? Is there any animes your son watched that he's invested in that you are in? Like, what's his favorite anime that you're in? He'd be like, yo, dad, man, yo, that was so.
Yeah,
like,
I'll tell you a story. I've told this story before, but it certainly is worth repeating. One time, this is years ago, but one time I walked into my son's room and he was probably about, 14, 15 years old at the time. And I said, what are you doing? He's like, just watching stuff on my phone. And I was like, what are you watching? And he goes, anime. I go, oh, cool. What are you watching? Soul Eater. Oh, well, your old man plays Lord Death in Soul Eater. And he goes, yeah, I'm watching the Japanese version. I was like, get out. He's like, this is my room. And I'm like, no, get out of my house. What do you think pays for your school? So conversely, we went to go see The Boy and the Beast because it had a small theatrical run. Took the family. We're sitting in the movie theater and watched the movie. There's probably about 30, 40 people there, and the movie ends and we all get up. We're walking out kind of in a mass of people, and my little girl holding my hand, and she looks up to me and she goes, Daddy, you were awesome as the voice of the Beast.
Oh, man.
I just looked at my son. I was like, you see, that's how it's done. So, no, but his, I think probably one of his favorite shows is Demon Slayer. And then, yeah, he likes a lot of shows I'm not in. So
speaking of shows that you're not in,
that's
right?
fine. I'm not, to each his own. It's all good.
Yeah, speaking of shows that you're not in, right? Before I slide it to Rose, are there any ongoing or upcoming animes you would like to work on?
I'd love to work on Demon Slayer. I mean, that's one of those things. Who wouldn't? It's
right.
It's kind of like, everybody wants to work on My Hero, or everyone wants to work on One Piece. It's like, it's just one of those shows that that would be it'd be really cool to get on. It's so hard to tell what show is going to hit and what show is going to be the next big thing. You just never know.
Yeah.
And I think that, if you can find it, if you can catch that lightning in a bottle, like Demon Slayer has, My Hero has, One Piece is, this resurgence has been unbelievable because, there was a time when, people liked it, but it was just like, oh yeah, that's the one that goes on forever. It wasn't getting the love I think that it's getting now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to work on Demon Slayer. I think that'd be fun.
Hey, whenever you see Luffy in a Macy's Day Parade, One Piece is doing something right.
Right.
So that's one. And just a recommendation. You know what I would love to see you work on? Y'all know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you know
Solo
it, bro.
Leveling, man. it to me, it's a new anime that came out. Those who read it, like myself, know that it's probably gonna be one of the best animes, and probably
What's it called?
Solo Leveling. It's gonna be huge. I ain't even gonna lie, it's on Crunchyroll right now, and everybody's raving about it.
Yeah,
talking about
I'm already in it.
You are?
Yeah.
Let's go. The dub doesn't come out until January 20th, which
maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, they released the trailer for it today. They dropped the trailer for the dub today.
3 days.
Can we know who you
We
playing?
just can't act. No, don't even act that.
Yeah?
NDA.
Yeah, I can't tell you that. I can't
Oh
tell
man,
you.
but you in it? Is it a big or little role?
You have to wait and see.
All right, we're gonna wait and see. Let's go. John Swasey is in Solo Leveling. Let's go. That's amazing. That's one of my
That's
favorite
hype.
animes right
That's
now.
hype.
Yeah, so I'm hyped for that. Rose, go ahead, man. He just got me on the hype train right now. Let me call. Go ahead.
Well, when it comes to like, all for or one for all and or all for one.
Mhm.
All for one and Crocodile, I've noticed that you have several iconic villains and antagonists under your belt. Like, do you have a preference to like play villains, or you don't mind if it's like a hero or anything like that?
I'll play whatever I can get cast as, but
Right.
I certainly love playing villains. I mean, they're a lot of fun. They have a lot more texture, a lot more layers,
hmm
bigger onion.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Now,
um,
just to piggyback off of that, I know you said a lot of villains, but the elephant on Hello Kitty, like, how,
yeah. Well,
how
that's
did
what
it
I'm saying.
feel?
I mean, I love doing that show. There was another show that was for kids called Michelle. It's a very obscure little, not even, it's like, I think 10 episodes or something like that. It was a beautiful little anime based off the story of the Little Prince. And I love doing stuff like that. It's fun. I love doing pretty much anything except stuff that's got a lot of fan service in it. I don't,
Mhm.
And I tell people, I'm like, they go, what is anime? Is that porn? I'm like, no, but it is everything from Hello Kitty to Hello Kitty.
Yay.
It,
Now,
but I don't, and I don't work on that kind of stuff anyway. I just don't, gravitate to it. It's not, I mean, if some people want to do it, that's fine. No problem. I got no problem with it. It's just not something I really enjoy. So I
Mhm.
like doing stuff that, um, I like doing stuff that I would be proud of my family to watch. Now, that doesn't mean I need it to be a, Disney rated G kind of thing, but something that I'm proud of the work. And sometimes the fan servicey shows like To Love Rue and they're just so,
Yeah, you can't really watch it with your family.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even ask them to watch it. I'd be like, no, don't
Yeah.
waste your time. Don't waste your time.
so what happened when you did Food Wars? Now, was that something you told the family, like, don't even attempt to watch?
Well, my family's not a big anime. My son probably watched Food Wars, and my daughter, I think, did some stuff in Food Wars. But that's a good question. I don't know.
It's right on the line, basically.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's kind of
you say
right
your
there on
daughter
the
did
right
something
there on
in
the,
full.
I don't know.
You said your daughter did something in Food Wars. Does she voice act as well?
Yeah, so my oldest daughter, Olivia, is she's 23. She's an actor. In fact, just moved to New York this past week. But
Mm.
she's done a lot of stuff, and she's kind of an up and coming voice actor. Um, and then my son Joshua is he's done a little bit of stuff, but mainly one-liners, small characters and stuff like that.
That's
But
so cool.
Olivia's pursuing a career in this, so yeah.
That is so amazing. Did that like come naturally for them, seeing that you voice acted so much?
Yeah, I mean, our whole family's pretty theatrical. My wife is a stage manager by trade, and my three kids all kind of took to it like fish to water. And um, even though only one of them wants to do it professionally, they're all three very talented and very gifted. And um, so it just all, I guess it's the way we're just wacky around my house, and it rubbed off. So.
Mm.
Okay, so like for most of the interview, we've been talking to John Swasey, the voice actor, and getting your insight on that. But I'm also curious about, John Swasey, the voice director. Like, how did you first get into that? And kind of talk us on, a little bit about the directing
Yeah,
process,
sure,
things like
sure.
that.
Thank you for asking, Rose. Um, I just, to be honest, man, I was looking for more work, you know. I was looking to do more. And I had been acting, doing this for about 5 or 6 years, and I was like, I think I could direct. And I've watched the directors direct. I think I could do that. And Sentai at the time, they were called ADV Films, and they were hiring, and I came on board and started directing, and then worked for a while, and then probably a couple of years, and then they anime kind of took a little bit of a downturn, and they had a round of layoffs, and then they would bring me back occasionally, and still voice acting, but occasionally they would bring me back to direct, and oh, here's a show we need you to direct. And I did that for years, and then probably about 2017. Yeah, I think about 2017. I started directing full time as a contractor, but full time with Sentai. And part of the reason was they needed a director because Chris Ayers, God rest his soul, was about the time he was getting very sick and he couldn't direct. So they asked me to step in and kind of take over for him so they could keep their schedule going. And I think it was really until he got better and could come back. But unfortunately, that day never came and he passed away. And so I've just kind of, I stayed on. I think I probably would have stayed on anyway, because they were growing and they needed more directors and such. But and then, so I kind of kept doing that for several years. And then, oddly enough, during the pandemic in 2020, they said, "Hey, man, we need to bring you on full time as an employee." I said, "Okay." So, we at the time we weren't doing anything because it was like all the studios were shut down, and we were trying to scramble to figure out how we could keep recording amidst that pandemic. And we, came up with some protocols and methods, and worked out really well. So yeah, I've been doing that ever since. So I'm just loving life. And now Sentai Filmworks is actually owned by AMC Networks.
Oh, wow.
So, like Walking Dead and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff also. So we're part of their portfolio, and it's been a real, it's been pretty cool, having that cachet. But so we're getting better shows, and it's really cool. So if you haven't, if your listeners and viewers are looking to do something to spend $5 a month, they should get High Dive, because it's only $4.99 a month, and it's a great streaming platform. And you can see some really great shows that I've directed. Kyle Jones has directed. Shannon Reed has directed. Joey, our boss, has directed. You'll recognize a lot of them. So
what's some of the shows that's on High Dive?
Well, some of the shows I've done is one of them is called Eminence and Shadow.
Thought that one's really good.
Vinland Saga.
That one's really good. Yeah,
the home video version, not the Netflix version. Although I think we may have had to take that off because I think Funimation has it now. But another show, Food Wars, of course, Haikyuu. I did a show called Love Flops.
It's like Overdrive or something like that. I forgot.
My teenage romantic comedy Snafu.
Yes,
a lot of isekai shows. The one show I'm quitting heroing actually features my daughter Olivia as the lead female in it.
Oh, she plays that one? Is the blonde
Yeah, her name is Queen Echidna.
Yeah,
And,
okay.
Yeah, she does a great job in that. So a lot of good stuff, man. You should check it out.
Mentioned your wife did a lot of theatrical work, like backstage. How did you meet your wife? Was it because of voice acting? If you don't mind going a little bit personal.
No, not at all. That's fine. Actually, we're in Houston, where we live. There's an organization called the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. It's a enormous organization. They put on a rodeo and livestock show for like 3.5 weeks. and millions of people come to it, and they have thousands of volunteers. And I'm a volunteer, and my wife is a volunteer, and we met on a committee at the rodeo, and started working together, doing some stuff. And I was just like, man, I should really see if I could date this girl. So I did. The rest is history. So 27 years later.
Oh,
So,
wow.
wow,
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, so I got married in 96 and started anime in 97. So
That's awesome. So
Mm.
she's seen the growth and development of your whole life throughout this process.
oh, absolutely. You bet. Yeah,
That's
she's
amazing.
the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the thrills and chills, and everything. So yeah, she's experienced it for sure. And she's always she loves, like, if we're out at a restaurant or a bar or something like that, she'll find a moment to say something to a waiter or a busboy or somebody. Like, oh, you like anime? What's your favorite show? And I'll say One Piece, and she'll go, John, who do you play in One Piece again? I'm just like, oh.
Knowing she know, that's so sweet, man. That's so dope.
She did that one time. We had just moved into our new house a couple years ago, and we were at this store called At Home, and we were buying some knickknacks for the house, and we're in line checking out, and she asked the guy checking us out, she's like, do you like anime? And I was like, Dina, and she goes, no, look. And he was wearing kind of like your necklace there, Lava. He's wearing a lanyard,
Yeah.
and it's got an anime character on it. And he goes, oh yeah, I love anime. And that's that. She goes, well, who do you play? I mean, what do you like? He goes, One Piece. She's like, John, who do you play in One Piece? He was like, oh my God, you're crocodile. I'm freaking out, man. And he got on the microphone. He's like, I need assistance on register 2, please. He was losing it and stuff. And what was really great is we bought the stuff, and he's like, okay, that'll be $200. And then he looked at me and he went, hang on, $180. Yeah, I got the anime discount.
Hey,
Speaking
And
of, One Piece, the One Piece fan base, they're like really like outraged. They can really be outrageous sometimes. Being that I'm pretty sure you go to a lot of conventions, you have any, bad or great moments, like, anything like somebody came up to you, speaking like you changed their life, or, inspired them to be a voice actor, or just seen. We had one voice actor that came on the show. He said some girl just came up to her, just came crying like hysterically. Have you ever had a moment like that?
yeah, sure. And most voice actors that have been around for a while have had that. And I used to kind of be of the opinion, like, chillax, man. I'm just a voice actor. It's no big deal. Just chill, But then I realized that, this is something that is bringing them great joy. And who am I to steal that joy? If somebody comes up and says, dude, I'm a huge fan. I love your work. It's meant the world to me. And, why would I say, oh, nothing? It is something. It's something to them. And so then it's something to me. Plus, you've got, I mean, the anime fan is, the breadth of what they can be. They're on the spectrum. They're part of the LGBT community. They're outcasts. They're, nerds. They're geeks. They're, whatever it is. They're athletes. It's not just, one. You can't just go, oh, they like anime. I mean, they're professional athletes that have come up to us and,
Mhm.
dude, I'm a huge fan. And I mean, I had an actor one time who's a Broadway star come up, and we were doing a Q&A together, and he goes, dude, I don't want to sound like a jerk, man, but I am totally fanboying on you right now because I love Salvador so much. I cannot believe I'm meeting you. And I was just like, dude, you're a way bigger actor than I am just in the Broadway world. And, so I mean, it was just very humbling. So yeah, I mean, those kinds of moments are really special. And when they happen, I try to treasure them and just realize, I mean, it sounds cliche, but man, when you have an impact like that on somebody's life, that's just right here that gets you. And probably
Yeah.
the most poignant time that ever happened to me was I got a call from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and there was a young kid that wanted to meet me and had a project that he wanted me to work on with him. And they flew him down to Houston and we worked on it together and had dinner and, it was a nice little experience and everything. And I think about a year later, he passed away. But it was really a very touching experience, for him, for me, for everybody, and again, when you realize that you've got that you've had that sort of impact on somebody, boy, I tell you, man, it's humbling, but it's very gratifying, and it really is. It it just it it just means the world to you. So it's very very hard to describe, but those are the moments that I just never forget. I'll never forget. I've had the weird, when I do conventions, and I do a lot of conventions. I do about 45 or so a year, and I do a panel on, it's called Con Horror Stories, and it's just all the weird shit that's happened to me over the last 15 years of doing conventions. And it's funny, it's all humorous. But there's been a couple of moments in there where, you're just like, wow, you just had such a profound and positive impact on somebody, and maybe saved their lives or kept them from doing harm to themselves or somebody else, or it's really cool, man, when you get that, because it's very tangible and very real. And yeah. I mean, I'm
Well,
kind of rambling on about it, but
nah, it's perfectly fine, man. That was
it
definitely a
really is
great
something.
story. And thank you so much, John, for coming here on the show. We got to let you know we appreciate you as well. This is what the platform is for, so we can learn and get to know who is behind some of these voices of these iconic characters that we grew up on, that we love so much, that we cried to, laughed with, etc. So thank you so much for joining. Do you have any future projects or upcoming conventions that you could talk about, or you can let us know where your next
Well,
convention
I've got
will be?
lots of stuff that's coming up. I'm working on a show. I'm trying to get a show off the ground with some friends of mine, with the guys that did the Turtle movie.
Hmm.
It's a little animation called Zeke and Zerlon, and we're trying to get that off the ground. And um, uh, I put on two conventions as well, one in Houston called Anime Houston, and one in Dallas called Anime Dallas. So those are in the fall, and like September for Houston and November for Dallas. So if any of your listeners are in the area, come on out. We'd love to have you. So yeah.
Also, one more time, let's give it up for John Swasey. Lava, thank you so much for tuning in. Let them know where they can find you at on social media.
You can find me under Senpai Lavatron on all social media platforms.
Hidden Rose, let them know where they can find you at on social media.
Hidden Rose on YouTube and Hidden_Rose on Twitch. See you guys there.
And John, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me in my living room playing my guitar, sipping on some whiskey.
Yes, sir.
And that's it.
No, I'm on Instagram and all that stuff. I don't really do much with it, but I'm there occasionally, and I always like to see people's comments. And if you're a fan, jump on in, man. I'd love to chat with you.
And that's it for our interview today. For more interviews, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We have an interview with Phil Parsons up, and also Michael Yurchek. Make sure you check those out. Thank you
Tell
for coming
Michael I
through
said
one more
hello.
time.
Tell Michael I said hello.
I definitely will.
Sir.
Michael, he said hello. Hope you watch
I
it.
love me some Michael Yurchek. He's a good guy. Real
Yeah,
good guy.
he was definitely great on the show. But this is Your heroes out, man. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure love yourself, pass that love on, and love others. Until next time, peace.
Sing it with me, pretty Cali, pretty Cali.